We are going to start the sexual reproduction in fucus. This is the second video on fucus. In the first video we had discussed the vegetative structure of fucus, and now we are going to discuss sexual reproduction because this is the sole mode of reproduction in fucus. No vegetative or no asexual reproduction here. Now, first thing which we start in the sexual reproduction, that is the structure of conceptacle. We have used this term during the study of the vegetative structure also, that conceptacles are the spherical cavities in which sex organs dwell, and each conceptacle opens to the exterior by means of a small hole called ostiole. Now if we see the structure of conceptacle, then just remember the internal structure of the thallus, where we have melistodon, that is the upper layer consisting of palisade cells bounded by cuticle and epidermis, and then we have cortex. I am just drawing the rough diagram, that is melistodon. This is the opening of conceptacle, which we call it as ostiole. So conceptacles open up from the thallus by means of ostiole, and conceptacles are aggregated at the tip of the branches, and these fertile branches of the fucus, they are known as receptacles. The branches bearing the receptacles are shed annually, and receptacles are swollen conical structures, and each conceptacle lies in the superficial part of the receptacle. Now the cavity of the conceptacle, here we can see over here, that it lies with the fertile layer at the base. And on the superficial layer of this, we have the presence of filamentous structure, which we call it as paraphysis. Paraphyses are the filamentous structure or hair-like branch structures, and they contain oblique septa in them. So they are multicellular septate structures. The paraphyses may produce the sex organs, or they may surround the sex organs. Both the possibilities are there. And we have, in addition to this, there are sterile hair-like growths which is present in the upper portion of the conceptacle, which in a way line the core area, and they are known as periphysis. Periphyses are confined to the area, very small area near the aperture, and they project also beyond the ostiole. They are lining the hole as well as they are projecting beyond the ostiole. Now coming to the distribution of sex organ in fucus, we have monoecious species also. As you know, monoecious means both the sex organs are present in the same thallus. In one kind of thallus, like examples are fucus furcatus and fucus spiralis, where both the oogonia and antheridia are developing in the same conceptacle. In the second category of the monoecious, we have the separate conceptacles of male and female structures in the same thallus itself. Then some of the species of fucus like fucus serratus, they are dioecious. That means male and female sex organs are produced in separate conceptacles on different plants. So we have all the possibilities of monoecious and dioecious species in fucus. Now coming to the structure of Antheridia. That is the male sex organ, or we can say the Antheridia. Antheridia are small oval-shaped structures which are lined by two-layered wall. Outer wall, which is very thin, it is known as exogyte. Inner wall is gelatinous, which we call it as endogyte. Inside this, it is a uninucleate structure, and as it is clear that this is a diploid nucleus. And the Antheridian structure, we can say, is globular, oval shaped, and it can be arising from the base also, and it can be arising from the branches of paraphysis also. Depending upon the species, we have the Antheridia arising from the branch paraphysis, or they are arising from the base, that is from the fertile layer of the conceptacle. Now we have that the nucleus of the Antheridium, that is diploid, to produce the sperms or the male gamete, it will first undergo meiosis, and then later on it will divide to produce 32 nuclei. Now these 32 nuclei will get surrounded by a little bit of protoplasm around them, and we have the demarcation of the Antheridium into 32 cell structure like this. This 32 cell structure also contains amount of pheoblast, means the pigments which are present, as well as at the later stage when the Antheridium is ready to produce the sperm, then each of this cell, which we call it as sperm mother cell, this will divide into two, that is by mitotic division each sperm mother cell will produce two nuclei, and these two nuclei will get converted into male sperm, and that is almost pear-shaped or oval structure, and it is biflagellate. The two flagella which are present on the lateral side of the sperm, one is smaller, which is facing the upper side, and one is larger. The one which is facing the anterior side is of tinsel type, and the other one which is facing downward is smooth and longer, and this is whiplash type. This also contains an eye spot. Eye spot is present also laterally just above the position of both the flagella, and this also contains a little bit of one cell structure and which is present on a very small stalk at the base of the conceptacle. As we know, the nucleus is diploid. It contains large amount of pigments, pheoplast, and this also undergoes ultimately the meiotic division. But before that, coming to the wall layers of the oogonium, there are 3 layers. One, the outermost is known as exogyte. Next to the exogyte, on the inner side, we have mesogyte. And then inner to this, the 3rd layer, which we call it as endogyte. These are the 3 wall layers of the oogonium which are enclosing the nuclei. Now, inside this we have the nucleus which will undergo meiosis, and after meiosis, when it produces the 4 nuclei, it will undergo just one mitotic division to produce 8 nuclei. And we have eight cells inside the oogonium, or we can call it as ovum. Now talking about the liberation of the sperm and as well as the female gamete, that is ovum, from the plant. Now these gametes, that is the female and the male gamete, they are now called as ovum and the sperm, and they are released when the tide is low, as well as they are coming out from the conceptacle along with the middle layer. Here we can say mesogyte and endogyte, and along with the endogyte in the case of the male gamete. And that is why they are known as sperm and ova bladders. Sperm bladders and ova bladders. Ovum is singular and ova is plural because we have 8 ovum there, so it is known as ova bladder. So in the presence of water, the exogyte is pressurized by the swelling up of the mesogyte and endogyte. They put the pressure on the exogyte, and that creates a pore or a hole, and through that pore of the conceptacle, along with this, they come out in the form of a bladder. In both the cases, whether it is ovum, whether it is the sperm. And then after coming out from the ostiole, then they are released in sea. Now this is the only kind, or you can say one of the kind of the algae where the male and the female gamete both are released outside the plant. Normally both are not released, only it's the male gamete which is released, but here both male and female gamete, they are released outside the plant, and then they are mutually, we can say, moving about in the sea. And here, as we know that the ovum which is coming out is showing us the pectoral movement because of the absence of flagella. And before the ovum sinks down into the bottom of the sea, the sperms, they come and get stick over here. Through their anterior flagella, the large amount of sperms, they get stick to the ovum so that they help the ovum to rotate in water. Large number of sperms are sticking around the body of the ovum with their anterior flagella. Now at the time of fertilization, one sperm will be able to enter. It will pierce, it will penetrate into the body of the ovum, and rest of the sperm, they will go away. Now the fertilization. And once the fertilization is over, then the effect of fucosylatin that diminishes because the release of fucosylatin is also stopped, and the rest, all the sperms, they go away except one which fertilizes with the egg. So this is the formation of the zygote. After fertilization, zygote will be formed. This zygote, ziploid zygote, will now settle down on the rocks, and the mucilaginous wall of the zygote will help the zygote to attach itself to the substrate. Now, as we know, the fucus